Students who are on the panel, if you guys can go ahead and start standing up and making your way up here and just grab a seat wherever. There's no assigned seats. Just grab a spot. And I'm going to give everyone kind of the lay of the land so we know how this is going to work. Come on, don't be shy. Just grab a spot. We are so excited you're here. So our goal is to get honest feedback about everything that's happening with teaching and learning in Klein ISD. And to help us moderate this chat, we're so thankful that on the teaching and learning team, we have a great relationship with our communications and planning team. And so Justin Elbert from Communications and Planning is here to help moderate the chat. Can we give him a warm welcome, and all these students too?
All right, so we have journalists in the back. They're recording this so we can watch it later. And what we want from you guys, students, we want honest, candid feedback. You know, we can't grow unless we know what we need to, where we need to grow. So, and when we talk about the things, when we're honest and candid about this, whatever questions they might ask you, let's talk about the system overall and not say, oh, my teacher, Miss Smith, you know. So, can we do that? Okay. All right, so our first question, here we go. I'm going to ask this to y'all, and then anybody that wants to answer, we're going to try to get some answers from all different levels. So our first question, if you could design your own class, what would it be like? All right, let's go here.
So I really like the way classes are on their own, but there are definitely different ways that they can be changed. And one of the ways I thought it could be changed is if someone really likes a subject like math, and if they were to really want to study it and do more on it, then they could test out of other subjects like reading and science that they weren't very interested in. So then they could spend more time working on things like math.
Okay, what was your name again?
Jackson White.
Thank you. Guys, okay, here we go. Let's go up here in the front right here. Sid, you had your hand up.
So I really like the way that our classes, because my teacher, Miss Hogan, she really thinks out of the box. Because if you see a normal teacher, if you think of one in your head, you might think they just go, okay, take out your books, let's open to page 637 and read this passage. No, Miss Hogan is, oh, look, Jackson can solve this Rubik's Cube. How about he teaches the whole class how to solve this Rubik's Cube, because it's outstanding, you know, it's really good. And so everybody, she'll provide them Rubik's Cubes, and they just work on it. And that's something that I don't think every class would do, and I think Klein ISD would shine with that idea. So, thank you.
Great, thank you, Sid. All right, Micah?
Mitch.
Mitch, I'm sorry, I'm old with my glasses. Okay, here we go. Mitch, you're going to do it?
First off, I would like to say that being here is a good opportunity because I can tell my views on what needs to be changed or what can stay. And I just want to start by saying the way the classes are, the teachers really help you. And the only thing I would change is that whenever you are in a classroom and you're learning something and you don't understand it, the teachers sometimes just go past it, and then you can't really understand what's going on. So then you have to figure out by yourself what's going on. And whenever the teachers don't help you, it really causes you to get bad grades in that class. So what I would change is having a classroom where the teacher can help you and not just skip by you.
All right, thanks, Mitch. All right. I'm going to go to two girls here.
I'm Jada Terry, and I attend Klein Oak High School. One thing I would change, one thing if I could design my own classroom I would change is I would try to group kids by their learning style so that they can better interact together and basically help each other on the things that the things that the teacher can possibly help them with, and just they can interact together and understand the material better because they have the same learning style.
Perfect, thanks, Jada. All right, let's get one more girl, and I'm pretty good at memorizing this, so if you haven't talked, I'm going to get you on question 2 and 3. Here we go. Oh, I'm sorry. Brian, we'll do Brian, and then we'll do Anna.
Well, my name is Brian Moorhead, and I think really, if I was designing a classroom, I'd make one that was comfortable because sometimes we have these really, really hard seats and it's hard for people to focus. And I see people looking around and look, the seat is really uncomfortable, Brian. Can we trade? I mean, or this one's really dirty. Can you go get me that one over there or something like that? And I think it'd be a better learning system if, we'd be more relaxed and we'd be more sync into the program or what we were learning about.
Wow. Thanks, Brian. Pass that over. Ann?
I think it's kind of good to be grouped with different people, like in a group that maybe some people like are more like have more knowledge because then you can learn off of someone else. And something like I wish like we could have something where like, because I know sometimes like tutoring kind of embarrasses some people, and I wish we could do something about that so that people don't feel embarrassed and that. So I also think that what would make a better classroom is that because we learn something new every week, but some people don't. Like they don't know the stuff we're learning right now, and then we go on and they still don't know something that they don't know the stuff that we did learn, and now they still don't know the stuff we are learning about. So.
Thanks, Anna. So before we go to question 2, we're going to do that in a second. I want y'all to look out there. If y'all noticed, they're taking notes. So while you're talking, you are the teachers right now, and they're the students. They're actually taking notes. Look, they have pens and papers. They're actually, look at this, notes. So this is how we make it better. So please share anything you would like to share because they're actually going to take notes. All right, question 2. If you could change one thing about teaching and learning at your school, what would it be? And let's get some new faces here.
Okay. So I go to Klein High School, and this is my sophomore year. So at the moment I'm taking world history, and I know you said don't point at teachers, but I have Miss Blake, and yeah, exactly. So the thing about Miss Blake is that I was terrified to go into world history. It's an extremely rigorous class. It's very hard. I'm not good at social studies. I can do math, but I can't memorize like the different kings of the Roman Empire. So when I went to world history, one of the best things I loved about that was that Miss Blake, she's really flexible with things, right? So the other classes, they're reading the textbook. They are doing 3 hours of homework every night. But Miss Blake, it's like, here's a reading guide, but if you have soccer practice this day or if you have a DECA competition that day, don't worry about it. You'll just pick up the pages another day. If you need to do it, just do it whenever you have a chance. You could do it in school, you can do it early, you can do it late, whatever you want. And also, the thing I really loved about her class is that after every test we took and after every major assignment is that we had reteach and retest in class. And I know it sounds really common for us, like a lot of us students take it for granted when we're in elementary school, when we're in middle school, but when we're in high school and we're doing such sophisticated and advanced learning, it's really important that we make sure that we understand the previous material. Because if you look at almost every single subject we take, algebra, geometry, algebra 2, all those basic concepts, you build on those concepts. So if you don't understand the fundamentals of lines, you don't understand quadratics, you're not going to be able to succeed in algebra 2 and pre-cal. If you're in pre-cal like me, if you don't understand how lines work, you're not going to be able to succeed. And I think it's really important that teachers understand that the importance of going back, making sure the kids understand the material so that when you go to the next topic, they actually have a foundation to build on. Because like Sid said, you need a foundation to build. If the house's foundation is like made of goo, it's all gonna fall down. So I think it's really important that we go back, reteach, and retest. And also, I wanted to add one more thing. Actually, 2 things. So another thing is that also I think one of us brought up tutoring. So also that kind of ties back. So a lot of the math teachers I've had, when I get into these higher level maths like algebra 2 and now I'm in pre-cal, there's a lot of very abstract concepts that you really have to grasp your mind around. And so I think it's important that the teachers are willing to go back to take a little bit of time out of class or to have tutoring before and after school so that they can explain these concepts to kids, because then you're seeing a lot of kids like me having to go and help their peers and help other classmen. Like right now, I have to go tutor people in biology, tutor people in algebra, geometry, algebra 2, because the teachers, the way the lesson plan is planned out so strictly that they don't have time to tutor, go in depth, really get individualized learning with all these children. And I think that's extremely important. And also, this is last point, I promise. So this morning I was thinking about this, and I was talking with my my biology/chemistry teacher, and she told me how when she worked in San Antonio, both Klein ISD and the school she taught at in San Antonio, we all follow the TEKS, right? That's how that's how the learning is structured. But as far as how the teachers teach it, there's a lot of variation now that I get into high school, because there's 2 physics teachers. I have one, and two physics teachers, we learn almost the exact same thing, except the third one is on entirely different curriculum. And when you have different curriculums for the same TEKS, for the same AP test, it really isn't that good for the harmonious aspect of student life. And also, no, this is all the same point. I'm not like adding any point. Almost done, like 30 seconds. Okay, so, and she said that in San Antonio, they had this resource that they could go to for all the resources for new teachers, for old teachers, teachers looking for new games, new activities to do with their kids, so that they could help reinforce the things that they're teaching, and they could also ensure that their kids are really understanding it in really real life terms that the students could comprehend.
All right, we're going to come to the back for a while, back row, because they haven't talked. So we're going to come back to you at the end.
Hey. Hello, I'm Catherine Singletary. I'm in 7th grade, and I go to Crimmel. So it's kind of a hard thing to follow up, but so this is obviously just me. I'm very opinionated about this subject, which is teaching homework. So I am a student athlete, and I am a volleyball player, you know, my height. And so with the way that they teach us, I feel like teachers spend too much time on things that aren't necessarily as important as things that they maybe should be teaching us, and so we end up with hours and hours of homework. Well, as a student athlete, I have hours and hours of homework for each class, and I also have 3.5 hours of volleyball every single night. And so with that, it's kind of hard to balance, and my grades, of course, are very important to me. And so there's a point in time where teachers spend too much time on things that I think should not be spent time on, like subjects that maybe don't matter as much to the thing that we're learning about. Or, of course, with this new system reset, teachers, I think that they have become bored with the curriculum, and so they get bored of teaching it, they don't want to talk about it, and they think of something else to talk about. Like, they'll end up talking about their own lives, and it's like, okay, well, now I have to go spend my time and work on my homework. And so that becomes kind of put on us. And so, and then also, we have a lot of subjects to the point where everyone learns differently. And so, especially in pre-AP, GT, when you become into classes like that, tutoring is frowned upon. But when you are in those classes, you are the kids who want to learn. You're the kids who strive to be your best. And so tutoring isn't just for kids who need more help. They're for kids who want more help, who want to understand. And so when tutoring becomes something that is frowned upon, it's kind of hard for you to get the extra help that you kind of desire, because it's kids who don't want as much time, or who don't want to spend as much time on what they're learning, and those are the ones you have to go to tutoring with. So maybe there could be some kind of extra after school, before school, something that students can go to who want to learn more about the subject and not who just need to learn what the teacher's already taught.
Great. Thank you for the courage it took to say that. All right, we have Christopher in the back row.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Gilbert, and I'm a 7th grade student at Crimmel. And I just wanted to say, I just wish that teachers would make learning more fun with either games or interactive learning, because sometimes I'm at the back of algebra and I'm just dozing off. But I just wish that they would make it more interesting or fun, so it can be easier for us to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. All right, let's go to question 3. All right. How could technology be better used to support your learning? All right, let's get some people. If you have not spoken, you're going to speak right now. Okay.
Hi, I'm Taylor Barsh, and I go to Krimmel, and I'm in 8th grade. Sorry. I don't always like using the computer. I sometimes like a hard copy. It's easier for me. I like being able to write on my papers, so I'd rather my assignments be hard copy. And yeah, I don't know.
Thank you.
Hard copies.
More hard copies, yes.
My name is Amelia McKee. I'm a senior at Klein High School. I do think that we have a great leadership program who really helps with things like this. Like if you have issues, they're really easy to talk to. But I do believe that we use too many different programs. We have Skyward and My Math Lab for our math homework, and now we have Schoology, and it's really hard to keep up with all of it because some of my teachers prefer Schoology and then other teachers prefer things like OneNote. So in my government class, we strictly use OneNote, and then for my math class, we use My Math Lab, and then for my English class, we strictly use Schoology. And so to keep up with everything, you have to check 4 different sites to figure out what you're doing in each class. And I think if we had one site that you could check everything and that everyone strictly used, then it would be a lot easier to keep up with the things that we're doing.
All right, let's get one in the front who's not talked yet. Let's go far left. Here we go. Mary?
Hi, my name is Mary Bravo. I'm in Criminal Intermediate, and I'm in 6th grade. And I think technology could be better if, like she said, if we could all use one site, which is Schoology, because that's something that you can check like every night to make sure that you're keeping track of everything you're doing and everything you're learning. And so you can go through each courses of your any subject that you're having trouble with, and so you can study and learn, and then you'll know everything and you'll get good grades and you'll learn more. And so for my math class, we only used OneNote once, which is, I think, is like, wow. And I wanted to use OneNote more because it was pretty cool. But then we have OneNote to study things, and then we also have Schoology to study things. So it's just like so confusing what you do first. You should do OneNote or Schoology, and I like Schoology a lot. Since it's my first time using Schoology, and I think it's really cool.
Okay, so we're going to do these last 2, if y'all could keep it somewhat brief, and then we'll go to the next round, a lightning round.
Hi, I'm Mark, and I'm a junior at Klein High School. And I feel like technology has already kind of been implicated into our society right now because my brother, he's in middle school, and he told me that he has a Chromebook now at Hildebrand. I was like, wow, I did not have a Chromebook at middle school. And so I see that technology is already taking a role in our society. So as long as that stays consistent, I feel like we'll all grow accustomed to it. And then also like the programming thing, like they said, I feel like we continually switch on the programs, and we're not allowed to stick and develop on that program. We're not allowed to learn on that program. So like she said, OneNote, we use OneNote, and then we go to Dino, and then we have a Schoology assignment, sorry. So it's hard to pick a program to develop with.
Hi. Okay, hi, my name is Johanna. I'm a senior at Klein High School, and I think technology is very important these days, and the use of apps like Kahoot, Quizlet, and quizzes is very important and help us as students to study for our exams.
Perfect. Okay, on to the lightning round. So what we're going to do now is everybody in the audience is going to be able to ask you questions. So if you have a question to ask, I'm just going to let you stand up, and then one at a time, you come to the front, and there's 2 microphones here, so if we could have one person on deck, and then one person actually asking the question. That way we can keep it kind of going back and forth. And then this is open to anybody up here, so if you feel like you have something to share, and if you haven't spoken yet, I want you to go first, and then we'll go to everybody else, okay? So who's first? I know your names. Uh-oh. It's coming.
Hi, I'm Michelle Thompson. I'm in charge of science instructional officer here. In my opinion, science should be the most fun you have in class every day when you're at school. That's my opinion. So I want to know, what do you think would make science more fun? What is the best thing about your science classes? And what do you think needs to change the most about your science classes?
Well, I really think that in science class we do a lot of hands-on STEM learning, and I think that that's really good. And to relate to what we said before about technology, that goes really well with it. And in science, in my class, we do play games sometimes where we, do matches and we do Kahoots and quizzes. And I think that it's a really good aspect of science that we get to do, how we get to have a lot of fun off of doing questions like that. And instead of doing worksheets maybe. So I really like that.
Great. Let's do one more. We're going to do 2 answers per question.
That's awesome.
Right here.
My name is Max Loeb. I'm a freshman at Klein High School. And in my biology class, my teacher does a lot of virtual lab type stuff, like a lot of stuff on the computer. And it's really fun and interactive, and I feel like I learned the material a lot better, and I actually want to do work in that class because the work that I'm given is interesting and fun. And like today, he had us do this activity where you basically can build your own RNA. And you can make like any shape and use different like amino acids and stuff, and basically you can find a cure for cancer by just messing around with this activity, because scientists will actually test the RNA shapes and patterns that you create. So you could be sitting in your classroom and find a cure for cancer. So
Thank you. Next question.
All right, so my question is very open, so think about it for a second. What are you curious about, and how could we inspire more kids to explore their curiosity? Awesome.
All right, who has not gone? I know who you are. I'm just letting you choose first.
I'm Jake. I'm a sophomore that goes to Klein Oak. When you asked that question, you were very right about being open. My initial reaction to it is basically I think that students should have more leeway with what topics they get to choose. So for example, like a lot of it's very set. You have 4 core classes: English, social studies, science, and math. But the thing is, besides 3 electives, which usually 1 or 2 are already like set for your years in high school, whether it's filling art credits or physical education credits, I think it'd be a lot more interesting to give yourself a lot more leeway and sort of like provide like sort of opportunities to do like independent study classes, for example.
Great, thank you. You haven't gone yet, have you?
Sure. I asked what you're curious about and how could we provide more opportunities for you to explore your curiosity.
Or we can get to the next one. You want to do that? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But sorry, didn't start yet.
Worries.
So I come from my family's like culturally divided. My mom's Russian, my dad's American, and I grew up in Germany. And for all my years living there, for the 7 years that I lived there, I learned that knowing other languages would be very helpful, because in this world right now, we do more with other countries. We don't know what goes on with them, and whenever we try to talk to them, we don't know what's going on. And the problems that they have, we can't address, because we only think about what our views and how we think that they should rule themselves, but they have a different perspective on us than we do of them. And I just think that a class would be a class on learning more on like the international understanding of the world. Like I know IB does that, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna take next year. But but I know there's different kids who aren't really who want to learn more with the world, but don't have the brain power to do special classes like GT or IB or something like that. And so taking a class in that and learning about other people and what they go through would be a really good idea, because now we try to communicate with others on the other side of the globe.
Great, thank you. We're going to go into the double lightning round, which is one person answering per question. And if we could kind of limit those to a minute or two per question. Okay, and if you haven't spoken, I really want you to have a chance to. So please reach for that mic and go for it. Okay.
Hi, y'all. Thank you for being here. We're excited to learn from you just as much as we hopefully can share with you in the classroom. My name's Amy Miller. I'm the Director of Professional and Digital Learning for the district. So I train your teachers, and I make sure that you have all the digital components you need in your classrooms. My question for you, and it's tied into some of the questions you answered earlier, you talked a lot about knowing what you're supposed to know before you move on to the next thing. So we call that mastery learning, and you talked a lot about personalized learning. If you could break down the walls of your classrooms, what would your classroom look like, and how would that look for your teachers?
Anybody who hasn't spoken yet want to go? That was our first hand. So.
Okay, so I just realized that I was not thinking the right thing. So are you saying like how we want the classroom to like look physically, or be?
And instructionally.
Okay, so a nice classroom, chairs are stupid, and we should be able to kind of just like chill around the classroom and make some more fun. And I like sitting on tables during class, and so it's like, I feel like, especially if you're like higher up, you're level eye with the teacher, you don't feel like kind of like they're overpowering you, they're over you. And if you're kind of more level with them, you're kind of like more into it, and you're like understanding, kind of you're getting into what they're kind of talking about. And then for like not physical, but if we had at least one class where we weren't so stressed about a grade, and where we kind of learned without having to focus on, oh my God, I failed this test, so now I'm going to fail this class, so now I'm going to fail high school, so now I'm going to fail my life. And so if we had a class where learning became easier because you weren't so stressed about a grade, I feel like more people would be interested in the class, be able to learn more in the class, because grades kind of just put everything, and they make everything feel so boring and so sad and depressing. And so, especially with those low numbers, and so it would just be better if we, had a more, like they said, like a leeway classroom where we kind of just got to explore what we kind of wanted to explore without focusing on numbers.
All right, thank you.
Hi, y'all. I want to tell you, thank you for taking time out of your school day to give us all this feedback, because you guys are super important. You're central to why we do what we do each and every day. But I'm Nancy Webster. I'm the Director of Testing and Accountability. And let me tell you what, the commissioner has said in 5 years, all testing is supposed to move online. I want to actually ask each of you, how do you feel about that, and what do we need to do to support you? Can of worms.
Okay, so we're going to try something kind of interesting here, since so many of you have a thought. I'm going to limit you. You have 30 seconds or less to answer it, and we're going to pass the mic down, starting here.
Okay, so about testing, moving online, I'm like, oh my goodness, because you have to like do all the stuff with the computer, like you have to make it in a way that's comfortable for you, like maybe turn it and put it in a laptop, and then like you look at it for so long, and then it hurts your neck, and then you have to turn it back up, and then you stare at it, and then you just forget to blink, and and then when you move it with your finger, it's just like sometimes it's just like you have to stretch out really far, especially me, because I have tiny arms and fingers. And yeah.
I'm sorry. It's a bad thing. I'm sorry. Just keep going.
So I think that testing online is okay, but one like problem with testing is mostly I've noticed it like now that I'm in high school, but I think it should have stayed the same. Was that like in middle school, all my teachers at the beginning of the year, they would say, okay, this is our testing day. So I will never assign you a test not on this day. So maybe in math, it was Tuesday. In social studies, it was Thursday. But like now I could find that I have 2 tests and a quiz on the same day. So then I'm freaking out studying for 3 different assessments when it would be a lot better if the teachers could separate it out a little more.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's try this real fast because we're going to run out of time. Just shout out your answers. Real quick. Each person gets 5 seconds. What are your thoughts? Go.
Okay, I think that testing online would be a lot worse now because whenever I'm learning online, when I were testing online, the classes that I'm testing for, like today, I clicked on something and then it gave me a different answer and then I got it wrong, and then
Wow. So I really don't like online testing because the computers usually break down for some reason. Like, it's always during the test. Whenever you're in the middle of the test, the computer just shuts off and you have to redo the entire test. So I'd rather have like a hard copy, and it's also easier to like check your answers because you can't check your answers on an online test because it just moves on.
Sid, in 5 seconds, why do you like online testing?
Online testing is something that, like, while I was doing GT testing, it was really fun because I could just choose an answer, and if I like marked it, I can mark it if I can go back. So.
All right, next one. I'm so sorry. We'll go with next one.
Good afternoon.
And this is the last question. I'm sorry.
I appreciate you guys taking your time to give us some feedback. My question is, I am the technology director for Klein ISD. I'm your technology director. And for those of you that are provided advice by Klein ISD, how has that impacted the way you learn and how teachers teach you?
Are you asking how the advice of Klein ISD impacts us in our teaching?
Right.
Okay. I'm Michael. I'm from Klein Oak. I'm a sophomore. So I think there's a lot of impact from Klein ISD's advice, primarily from the promise to purpose. So it's given teachers a new direction, a new way to say, hey, I'm going to give you direction. I'm going to capacitate you. I'm going to let you learn. I'm going to let you grow as an individual. I'm going to build that character. I'm going to make you the best person that you can be. And I really like that. Also, a lot of, I don't know how to put it. Anyways, I like also that there's a little bit more, I don't know if this is exactly answering your question, but I like a little bit how there's a little bit more freedom now in the classes that I'm taking, that there's more responsibility to the kids that are, responsibility and accountability of the kids, because there are days when you can be paying attention to class or else you can be gaming, and I really like that because for the kids that actually are paying attention, like me in world history and Spanish AP and all these classes, you're really getting to go in depth. You're really getting that one-on-one experience, and you really get to take responsibility of your learning, and I really appreciate that aspect of our learning this year.
Okay,
Okay, there we go. Okay, technology-wise, I do think that technology is very important, mostly for like Catherine, I am a student athlete, and I've always been a student athlete. I do miss a lot of school because of it, but a lot of my teachers, with what they're teaching, especially like pre-cal, if you miss a day of pre-cal, you are not going to know what's going on the next day. But they post videos that I can watch when I get back from my tournaments, and I think that's really helpful because I can go back on my own time and figure out what's happening. That way I don't fall too far behind.
Just real quick, do you want to do a poll at all of them?
On the
A
spot?
raise the hand poll?
Yeah, sure. How important do you feel taking the device home? I think some of us answered some of your questions answer that. How many of you think that taking it home makes a significant difference than whether leaving it at the school and coming back to it every day?
So who would like to take the laptops and Chromebooks and everything home?
Okay. Chad, write that down.
All right, thank y'all. Can we give these students, these learners, a big round of applause? You can stand up. That's good.
So we obviously have the best students in the universe, which makes Promise to Purpose that much more exciting. Truly, to all of you, thank you so much for sharing your honesty with us and for just giving us your insight and letting us hear your voice. We don't want you students to feel like this is like your only moment in time to ever get to do that. So there is a survey actually when you do log onto your device tomorrow morning. There's a survey that should be on your screen. And so please tell your friends about this. Spread the word that we want to hear student voice in Klein ISD. And we want to use what you all have to say and the feedback that you give us. Sid for president, I know. Hold on one second, okay? But truly, we do want to hear what you think. So the best way for us to do that is for y'all to tell all of the people that you talk to give us that input online. All right, so 1 second, Sid. I'm going to give all of these adults now an assignment. So it's really great to listen to what people have to say, but if you don't change your actions and we don't change what we're doing with the things that we learn, it doesn't have an impact on the system. So today, at some point, before you go to sleep tonight, I need you guys to go online to this link, which is a bit difficult to see, but I'll send it out to the whole team electronically. And I want you to answer, in listening to our students today, what are the things that you've learned as a result of this conversation? And then, as Promise to Purpose investors, what are we going to do? What's our commitment as a result of what we learned? Okay, and I'm asking y'all to put your name on that because we're going to be having lots of follow-up conversations from really what today was a springboard to a lot of great things to think about, consider, and act on in the future on behalf of our students. So again, students, Sid, yes, let's get last thoughts from Sid before we leave.
So, noters, please take this down, but whenever you're in class and you're doing stuff, GT is like thinking out of the box. And one book that my dad gave me, it's called Moscow Puzzles. You think out of the box, because one was like, there's 9 dots, connect them into a like specific way, and then from that way all of them have to be touching, or separate the cabbages from the goats, or take the farmer, the goat, and the cabbage, the farmer, goat, cabbage, and wolf across the river without making one die, because the cabbage gets eaten by the chicken, and the wolf gets eaten by the chicken gets eaten by the wolf. So yeah, that's the type of questions that I like.
That's great. So in that spirit of thinking outside the box, let's all reimagine learning together, refresh our curriculum. Many thanks to our parents for being here today, for our amazing campus administrators, for our student journalists. We're just so thankful for all of you. So everyone go ahead and have a great day, and thanks again, students.